Welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here today on this Friday review episode. Can't wait to get into today's show. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be controversial, so, buckle up, because there's going to be a lot of people that are offended by the research that I share, and some people will be cheering it on. It really all depends on the case or the side of the aisle that you seem to root for. But I'll tell you, the bottom line is this. The bottom line, whenever I present research, I always wait a couple weeks for the dust to settle. So one, people are too triggered by emotions based on politics. Honestly, I don't play politics. I don't enjoy politics. I don't really follow politics too much. And the reason is it's just not, that's not something I'm ever going to be into, because I really have one goal and one goal only, and that's for my work and my talks and all the different things that I do is all about the health space. It really is. It's about ideally bringing people together. Doesn't mean we always have to agree, but we can keep an open mind. And what happened was during the pandemic, people chose sides, and the ability to listen to the other side. Not only was it frowned upon. Not only was it frowned upon, people were getting banned on social media for reasons that we now know to be actually true, meaning like they were being banned for saying things that were true, but back then you weren't allowed to say it, or you weren't at least allowed to have the debate. So now I'm going to give you the latest research on, most likely with high confidence, of where the actual virus came from. And then I'm going to present to you probably is equally a controversial topic, and that was sugar alcohols and artificial sweeteners causing a twofold higher risk for heart attack and stroke. So I'm going to actually give you the truth behind both. Not my side. I don't have a side. Again, I don't play sides. I think politics in general is evil. I don't think that to stand for the people, to be honest. I don't feel represented by politicians. Maybe you do, and that's fantastic. But again, I'm just not a political person. All I want to do is talk health. So we're going to talk health here today. I'll let you decide on everything else. So what I'd love to do before I get into the research, I always give you a product-based review. I've got another one today. Today's a big update on air quality monitors. You might have heard mine a couple weeks back. I've got one that's going to save you a lot of money, which is always nice, but also give you an interesting story of why I started to show high volatile organic compounds in my house after some construction, and how that led to some alarm for sure in my household. So let me get into that. Let's get into the updates first. So first things first, I want to thank you. I want to thank our community, because I know that a regular podcast and, always having to be about, hey, what's this podcast all about? How can it help me? All those different things. Yesterday's podcast meant a lot to me, to be able to do a show for so many people that have always asked, how is Moose, who is my French bulldog, doing? And they knew if they'd been following me on Instagram, I would always post, some weekend stories about my dog, and my family as well, of course, but he was part of the family. And he passed away last week. And so anybody who knows me knows that I love dogs. I'm an animal person in general. I just love animals. And I've always loved dogs, grown up with dogs. Couldn't imagine myself not having a dog. It's a pet that I love. Yes, I love cats too. I love all animals, but I only have dogs. I'm a dog guy. And he passed away, and I wanted to share a story of basically, it's called The Dog That Defied All Odds. And he stayed alive when he was given 3 months to live. He stayed alive for almost 3 years. And it's just in human years, because that doesn't seem like a lot, right? But French bulldogs are meant to live 8 to 10 years. He lived to almost 12 years old. And as a dog that was sick and had heart disease, high blood pressure, Cushing's disease, eye ulcerations, and he got all of this from lead poisoning. So there's a health message in there. I share with you the health message, but that's 21 human years he stayed alive after being given a diagnosis, which would be for humans like a year to live. So if you kind of do the math, somewhere around a little over a year to live to 21 years. And it's not meant to give medical advice or anything like that, but I just share with you that there's always hope. You should always believe, always get second opinions, always ask why, look for the underlying root cause, and keep on fighting and have a drive to survive every single day. And I just wanted to share that yesterday, and I appreciate our community so much for allowing me to do those types of things that mean a lot to me. So thank you. I appreciate you. All right, let's dive into the show here now today. So, and again, if you want to listen to that show, they're all at stephencabral.com/podcasts. And if you want to head on over to stephencabral.com/2604, that's where all the research links will be today. And the product links, you'll want to check that out for sure. Last, I want to give you an update because last week I talked about avocado mattress, the mattress that I've been using now for 5 years, and how it's held up, why they've gotten better as the industry has kind of like fallen by the wayside. And I mean, they own their own farms now. Like that's how good they've gotten. It's going to be tough to catch up to them. So I just wanted to share with our community that this may be the last week. Yeah, it ends the 24th. So I guess that's today. So if you want, go to stephencabral.com/avocado. stephencabral.com/avocado. It's AVOCADO. And you can save up to $300 on their mattresses. They have both vegan and then they have regular organic wool mattresses. They've got pillows, they've got organic everything. It is the best mattress you're going to find. Most comfortable, but it's also the cleanest by far. Like there's nothing that even comes close. So stephencabral.com/avocado. Great chance to save up to $300. So I just wanted to bring that to you because they let our community know. They always give me a coupon code, and that's it. So again, go to stephencabral.com/2604 for that special link, or stephencabral.com/avocado, and you should be able to save it today up to $300. All right, let's get into it. EquiLife this week has our Big 5, call it our Founders Lab Sale, and that's because it is my birthday month. Yes, the whole month of March is my birthday month. But all kidding aside, always as we move into the last week or so of the month, we always do a founder sale. So essentially, the very first thing we did over at EquiLife as we started to bring my Boston, Massachusetts practice online is get people access to the Big 5, because that's what we've been doing since about 2010. And so I want to share that with you. And during March, so during this 1 week in March, we actually offer $1,000 off the Big 5. I mean, it's unbelievable. So you get all 5 labs for under $1,000. I mean, no one anywhere in the world does that. And that's because the whole reason I got into integrative health and functional medicine was because I wanted to be able to help people from a deep foundational level in order to heal. And the only way that you can ever figure out how to heal mystery-based illnesses, chronic-based health issues, is to look for the underlying root cause problems. That's it. And those are deficiencies in the body, and they are toxicities in the body. Things the body has too little of that we have to add more to, and things that you have too much of that we need to take away. Like that's the foundation of health. I know I may oversimplified it there, but you don't know what to add and you don't know what to take away if you're not lab testing. That's the bottom line. So for less than $1,000, you and your family, again, it's 1 Big 5 per person, but you could obviously purchase it for the family. You can get it for less than $1,000. And it comes with a 90-minute coaching call. So, I mean, it's an unbelievable value. A 90-minute coaching call for most coaches is going to be like $250 to $500. So you get all of that and you get the labs for under $1,000. Again, I'm not trying to sell you on this, but this is an unbelievable offer. Like you won't find this. Usually like 2 labs would be $1,000. So again, I just wanted to share this with you. It's a great time if you've been thinking about lab testing to take advantage of it. And the starter kit is basically half the price and you're getting $100 off. So if you want to start with less of an investment, do so with the starter kit. That's 2 labs, the minerals and metals test, which tests for your mineral levels, plus like stress levels, all that, plus heavy metals, and it looks at your gut function, mitochondrial energy function, as well as your vitamins. So that's the starter kit. The starter kit's included in the Big 5, but with the Big 5, you also get food sensitivity testing. You get your inflammation scores with your omega-6 to your omega-3, and you also get all of your hormones, estrogen, progesterone, DHEA, testosterone, cortisol throughout the day, thyroid levels, free T3, free T4. You get insulin, hemoglobin A1C, and vitamin D. I mean, it's incredible. This is what I run every year, every single year at my birthday, and that's why I want to pass along the same offer to you. By the way, it's basically the same cost for me. Like, I just want to share that with you as well. I have to pay for these labs. You have to get all these labs always through a doctor. So what we do is we sign off on these and we ship them to you. They're private. You do them right at home. It's not shared with insurance companies. It's not shared with anybody. It is the lab that we use and you in a private app lab portal where you get the results. That's it. You share them with who you want to. We don't share them with anyone. So that's also the nice thing of running them without the insurance. So hopefully that's helpful. Again, you can find that right over at stephencabral.com/shop while supplies last this week. All right. Next up is a podcast recap. This week we have Monday's show, which is what are your non-negotiables? So important. I actually gave you my non-negotiables. I create new non-negotiables every single year. And honestly, they're typically not new. What I'm doing is adding more. So it's like, okay, every year I add more. Why do I add more? It actually simplifies my life. When you have non-negotiables, the answer is always a yes or a no. It's a binary decision. It's not maybe. Hey, we are going out to dinner 9:30 p.m. over at this restaurant. Do you want to go? The answer is going to be no. No, 99% of the time. There's always that one, right? But the answer is no. It's just no. It's like Monday through Friday, I'm up with I'm getting good sleep, right? Why? Because I need to be able to exercise. I need to be able to work. I need to have energy for my daughters, all of those different things. And people might say, well, you're missing out on life by not going out to dinner at 9:30 at night and not getting back till midnight and eating that close to bed. Here's the thing. I would say the opposite. I'm missing out on life by being groggy and not being able to exercise or work or be there for all the people who depend on me the next day. So will I still do it like once every couple months? Yes, I will, because it might be a wedding. It might be a special event where I'm going out to people on the weekend. But the likelihood of me saying yes to that, it's an automatic no. So a non-negotiable is a no. And then could I be convinced? No, I mean, really not. It has to be a special occasion, because here's the thing. I could then meet up with those same people for lunch one day, for a coffee one day, for whatever it might be. So again, that's just one example. It's not always going to be for you. I don't say follow my non-negotiables. I say here's how to create your own. Right? How to create your own. So check out that episode. That was 2600. 2601 was a how-to guide to maximizing sauna benefits. So basically, how long should you sauna? What type of sauna? What do you wear in the sauna for max benefits, sweating, all of those things. So I go through everything on that show, and I really want you to know how to sauna, because the truth is there's very few things that you can do in life that's that passive that you get tremendous benefits, like decreasing cardiovascular risk by over 60% and decreasing all-cause mortality by over 40% for sitting in the sauna for 19 minutes. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. So check out that show. 2602 is the obesity paradox explained. This is an interesting one. It used to be believed that people who were overweight, not obese, and not regular healthy weight, and not underweight, people that were overweight actually lived the longest. The obesity paradox has been debunked. All the research is explained. And then yesterday was the show that I spoke about, the dog that defied all odds. I think you'll find it to be an interesting story. Certainly I got a little emotional. I don't try to hold that back ever, but I wanted to share with you, while it was still fresh, only a week had passed, that I wanted to share with you what happened to my dog, why it's unfortunate. It can happen to humans as well. It's worse when it's a smaller child or a dog, because they cannot recover as easily. And then I take you through that story. And so, again, hopefully that was helpful. And that was 2603. All right. Today, quick update on this. I always give you my update. So the avocado mattress last week was an update. Been using it for 5 years. What I want to do is I did a podcast on air quality monitors. I believe in them now even more than ever. Like, I really do. But I know that there's only so many, natural health devices that you're going to want to purchase. And so I totally get that. But I talked about it here. Clean Air Meter. I believe it was 2534. Please don't quote me on that. I'll link it up today at episode 2604. So I want to give you the full review. I'm not going to do that today. I want to do a follow-up, and I want to give you a new link today. And I'm going to put it at stephencabral.com/resources as well. That's going to save you $100 on these clean air meters, because the first clean air meter I got, it was $134. All right. Was it worth the investment? Yes, absolutely. 100%. Here's why. We moved into a new home, let's say now about 4 months ago, somewhere around 4 months ago. And during that time, we've lived through a little bit of construction. And we had painting done, and we had sanding done, new bathroom, that type of thing. Okay, so course, we used no VOC paints. They used to not even have, they had low VOC paint like 5 or 6 years ago. And then before that, they just had regular volatile organic compounds. These things are invisible in the air. They're absolutely toxic. Paint is toxic to breathe in. Purchase no VOC paint. Ask your painter to purchase no VOC paint. Really important. Anyway, I can give recommendations on that as well, but we'll talk about that in the future. So anyway, the day they were doing the painting and the day they were doing some of the cutting for wood and putting down tile in the bathroom, the VOCs went up. Now, here's the difference though. So we have air filters. The air filters went on. It's cleaning the air. We open the windows. We have the circulation. Great. So all of that is good. The next day, and again, we closed the bedroom doors. We turned off the AC so none of the ventilation would go around. We put in the air ductors and we got our air filters going, right? So here's the thing. For the following 2 weeks, but we had something done at the same exact time. We had ozone put in our air conditioning ducts to kill any mold that might be in there. So ozone can raise total volatile organic compounds. We didn't know if it was the newly put in ozone, the VOCs from the construction, what it was. But anyway, our VOCs were through the roof. They were way too high. And if you are being exposed to VOCs, especially children, I mean, it can cause some really bad health effects. So my wife and I, obviously very concerned. We had the ozone unplugged, so we got rid of the ozone and the AC to see if that was it. It doesn't lower it, okay? We open the windows, okay, that seems to lower it, that's good. If we noticed that the sunlight actually raised the VOCs. Okay, after a while, no matter what we did, it still was not going down, and our air filters weren't kicking on to say that there were high VOCs in the air, which they filter. To make a long story short, I said, you know what? It is possible that the meter has now become dysfunctional. I purchased another meter, which is the one I'm going to share with you here today and link up. It shows now normal readings. So if you can see this, this one has CO2, it has TVOC, and it has HCHO, which stands for formaldehyde. And then it gives you your temperature and humidity. The only one thing that this doesn't have, which I wish it had, is particulate. That's why the $134 meter is fantastic. Don't get me wrong, like, it's great. I'm going to link both up today, but you can save $100 if you don't mind not seeing the particulate. And this one is like $39. So you literally save like $100 with taxes. So I'm going to link this up here today. That ended up being the end results. So I bought the same, so I show it to my wife. My wife's like, all right, well, just maybe it's 2 different meters. She had a good point. So I purchased the same exact meter again. I put them side by side. It ended up being that the meter that I've had for 3 or 4 months now is malfunctioning. Now, here's the thing. Could be just it malfunctioned with VOCs because everything else is totally normal and all 3 match up except for that. Or VOCs, I don't know if possible, got trapped inside this meter and it never would go down. So that's also a possibility. Regardless, I now have 2 meters. We can put them in different parts of the house, and I'm returning the one that was malfunctioning. So I wanted to share that with you today, and that's also why, again, question everything and just work through your variables. You will ultimately be able to figure out what it is. We've got clean air in the house, really important. I've told you this before. You need clean water, clean food, clean air. Don't worry about anything else until you do those 3. All right, that is that. Again, I'm going to link up the $134 monitor, still amazing. I still recommend it, and I still use it, the one that's working now. And this one, which is $100 basically less, and this is a fantastic monitor as well. It just does not have the particulate in the air. So like when you cook, things like that, you know, you'd see that go on. All right, that is that. With that, 2 research studies for the day. First one is this. This came out just a while ago, but let me do it. Let me give you the report first, and then I want to share with you a story of a conversation I had in June of 2020, 3 months after the big outbreak in the United States of COVID. All right, so let's get into it right now. So, and I'm going to give you exact quotes here, so I'll make sure that I'm not misquoting anything. This was published in the Wall Street Journal, and the new report highlights how different parts of the intelligence community have arrived at different judgments of the pandemic's origin. The Energy Department now joins the FBI in saying the virus likely spread via a mishap at a Chinese laboratory. So again, we all know the laboratory in Wuhan where the virus was actually being studied. A COVID virus was being studied. We know that. We know that that's it. And let me just read the second part and then I'm going to go through it. The FBI employs a cadre of microbiologists, immunologists, and other scientists and is supported by the National Bioforensic Analysis Center, which was established at Fort Detrick, Maryland in 2004 to analyze anthrax and other possible biological threats. Okay, so before you say, like, how are they qualified? They have their own teams. And they look at it from an investigative arm that's separate from others. The problem is, when this was being investigated in the very beginning, it was being investigated by people that are also being funded by the people doing these specific studies. And I'm not going to name names, but you can't have. So let's say that you were being accused of a crime and you were the lead investigator and also the judge in the case, right? And like, you just can't do that, right? You need to have some other people and then you can all get together to decide. But then you can also say, you can just bottom line, you can say this, we don't know. We don't know. And everything is going to be left on the table. It could have come from a wet market. It could have come from whatever origin, or it could have come from a lab leak. It doesn't have to be malicious, meaning like maybe it was intentional, maybe it was unintentional. Nobody knows. Like nobody knows. You can't say yes or no. And so you can't silence the people who were saying, let's look into this. Let's explore it. You had scientists saying that it looks like there might be some deletion and addition sites on this particular virus that could potentially mean that it was manufactured in a lab. Like, let's just keep our mind open. And that was the issue. People were literally being banned from saying anything or alluding to that on social media. And now it is the most likely scenario. It's the most likely scenario, but you know, the truth is this. If you use first principles and you believe in foundational principles and you say, okay, what is the most likely origin? The most likely origin is they were studying this particular virus inside of a lab in a city where the virus originated. Like that is the most likely scenario. Now that could be proven wrong, but I, myself and many other people tried to say that, but you just get banned on social media. And then all the work you do is basically for naught because you say one thing. And I have no dog in the race. I would not benefit, nor would, none of my work would be benefited from saying that. But here's why. I spoke with a lead geneticist. You would know them. They are top 10 in the United States geneticists. They happen to be a friend and colleague of mine. I was talking with them in June, not specifically about this, but we were having a friendly conversation. June 2020, okay, almost 3 years ago, 3 months after the pandemic started. I said to them, kind of nonchalantly, been doing a lot of research over the past 12 weeks. I'm not a virologist. I'm not an epidemiologist. I almost went back to school, actually, to be in nutritional epidemiology, but I knew my passion in life is as a practitioner and working directly with people, not necessarily in a lab, but I obviously very much respect that. And this geneticist, I said, listen, this is your expertise. What I've seen, but isn't allowed to be said right now, because a lot of these geneticists and people are getting grants, the likelihood it looks like is that this actually came from a lab. And they looked at me and they smiled and they didn't say anything else. And I said, okay, enough said. And so they weren't willing to put themselves out there, still haven't to this day, they may in the future, but a lot of high-ranking people who are experts knew. And I just want to share this for the simple reason that this is not a I told you so, this is none of that. Again, because I shouldn't be the one saying it was or wasn't. There are other people who have expertise in this area that said they were. I just say we need to keep the conversation open. We need to be allowed to at least discuss this and then show all the evidence that it wasn't from a lab, right? And it's not blaming anyone in China. People can if they want, or I don't think they should, right? It came from the lab. Now, should they have been studying that there? That's a different question, right? So I'll leave that for today. But again, I wanted to share that with you. And again, I will publish the Wall Street Journal article on this specifically. All right. I don't want to get too deep into it. All right, second one here today. Erythritol. So erythritol is a type of a carbohydrate. It's a sugar alcohol, also called a polyol, all right? So there are other types of polyols: sorbitol, mannitol, maltitol, lactitol. It's actually maltitol, xylitol that you may have heard before, which has been shown to help the teeth in a way to protect from cavities or decrease, but again, not to be consumed necessarily in the stomach, but could be chewed in the mouth or swished or whatever it might be. Also malt and erythritol. So why am I sharing this with you? Well, erythritol is a little bit unique. It is a 0-calorie artificial sweetener, or 0-calorie, you call it a sweetener. It does occur in some fruits and vegetables at minor levels, but here's what they found. They found that if your blood level of erythritol was in the top 25% compared to the bottom 25%, there was about a 2-fold higher risk for heart attack and stroke. It's on par with the strongest of cardiac risk factors like diabetes. Why does this matter? Well, let's go on just a little bit more. Artificial sweeteners are widely used as sugar substitutes, but little is known about their long-term effects on cardiometabolic disease risks. Here we examine the commonly used sugar substitute erythritol and atherothrombotic disease risk. An initial untargeted metabolomics, there we go, studies in patients undergoing cardiac risk assessments. Circulating levels of multiple polyol sweeteners, especially erythritol, were associated with incident 3-year risk of major adverse cardiac or cardiovascular events. Okay, cardiovascular events would basically be heart attack and stroke. So here's the thing, what do they find? Well, if you have high levels of erythritol in your blood, serum, so whenever you hear the word serum, think blood, you are at much greater risks now, twice the risk, 2-fold, of having a heart attack, essentially cardiovascular risk, or stroke. Okay. Here, so when you see that, you say erythritol is bad, you should never use it. Now, here's what I want to state. One, I've never recommended sugar alcohols. I just haven't. I've never believed in them, and that's because I work with so many people with gut issues, and the fermentability always led to gas and bloating and other issues. So I'm not a huge fan, because I'm not a fan of any types of polyols or sugar alcohols in general. This, by the way, has nothing to do with stevia, a natural plant-based sweetener, monk fruit, or others. So just, kind of want to state that. This is to do with sorbitol, mannitol, all those, but namely erythritol. Okay, so here's the issue though. Again, so I don't recommend erythritol, never have. But I want to be fair. This study did not measure erythritol intake. It measured erythritol in the blood. And guess what? Erythritol rises in people with metabolic dysfunction. So what they don't share with you, and I'm going to share with you right now, what they didn't share with you is the subjects being studied for this. So age was 65 years old was kind of like the mean. Let's see here, 63% men. We know obviously more cardiovascular issues. This is 63 to 70%. I'm going to give you the range. 63 to 70% male. BMI was 29. So basically 1 point below obese. 22 to 27% had diabetes. 72 to 80% had hypertension, high blood pressure. 13 to 16% were smokers. Up to 75% already had coronary arteries disease, so heart issues. 16 to 19% some type of heart failure. History of myocardial infarction, basically history of heart attack or heart issues, 39 to 46%. LDL mean was 96, 91. Well, that's actually not bad, so that's interesting. HDL was low. It was between 34 and 48. Total cholesterol, they're probably on statins, I guess, for these to be the numbers, 63 up to 63 milligrams per deciliter. Triglycerides averaged 114 to 122, which is high. So we're not talking about the epitome of health there. We're talking about metabolic disease. Well, guess what? In people with metabolic disease, erythritol in the blood is higher regardless of erythritol intake. Okay, so that's already 2 issues with this particular study. Let's give you 3 more. We don't know yet if serum erythritol, so erythritol taken in the blood, is a cause for actual myocardial risk, right, or cardiac risk, or if it's there because of intake, or it's because of metabolic disease, or is it the metabolic disease causing the heart-based issues regardless of erythritol? We don't know yet because it hasn't been separated out. The next one is this, is that in this study, it does not seem that people were even consuming erythritol because it wasn't on the approved list of nutritional supplements. That's interesting. And erythritol is essentially supplement. The last part is this, is that there were previous studies done on the association between erythritol and cardiovascular risk. And this was done before erythritol even was approved as a nutritional supplement years ago. So there's 5 reasons why the consumption of erythritol may have nothing to do with the risk factors for cardiovascular. For example, what if these people didn't have all these metabolic issues and they consumed erythritol? Would they still have elevated serum levels, or would it be just digested? We don't know because the study didn't go over that. So I just want to say in general, I don't recommend erythritol. Don't recommend sugar alcohols in general. Don't think that they're health foods. But I want to be fair, and what's fair is this. This study absolutely does not correlate consumption of erythritol with high blood serum erythritol, leading to a twofold factor for heart attack and stroke. So I wanted to share that with you here today. Be careful what you read in the headlines, because the actual headline, and this is from Nature Medicine, the artificial sweetener erythritol and cardiovascular event risk. Let's be careful again before the science works its way out. And remember, good science is always being questioned. So you should be able to question the science, not say that the researchers were bad or did anything wrong. I just don't want to jump to conclusions. Now, the next study I want to look at is, let's look at people without metabolic disease. Let's give them erythritol if you choose to. Let's then look at serum blood levels, and then let's look at their twofold, if they have that, heart attack or stroke-based risk, all right? Hopefully this was helpful. I know it was a long one here today, but I had a lot to go through. I hope it was worthwhile. Always feel free to let me know what products I should be reviewing for you that you may find helpful, and any other comments you want to leave. I'm always happy to read those. Take care, everybody. Have an amazing weekend, and I'll be back tomorrow with our Cabral House Calls. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything. Functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.